Hi, I'm Rachel Esterline, and I am the founder of MC Romance Book Club. And we are here today to talk about my book, Hatchet and the Hellcat. And because I'm usually the host, but it doesn't make sense for me to host my own book, I have Holly who is going to help facilitate. And we also have Jamie in the room. So if you've been following us on social media, Jamie is the person behind the phone, the social media. So thank you, Jamie, for taking that over and bringing us new faces.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I am very excited to be here. I am very, very passionate about the Lone Star Mavericks, maybe more so than Rachel, if that's not creepy, because I'm obsessed. Like you can tell that I'm obsessed. I have my books, and they're all tabbed to the high habits because I love these books so much. So has everybody here read all of the books? Should we keep this spoiler free, or can we do a little like a dabble in some spoilers?
I think we can spoil away.
Spoiler, great. This makes
and I can even give Christmas novella spoilers at the end.
Love it. Love this. This is the best day ever. It's like Christmas in July. I love it. Okay, so Hatchet and the Hellcat is obviously about Hatchet and Merrick's sister, Mercy. So I've tried to switch up some of the questions from like when we first talked at your launch party because I want to keep you on your toes. But did you always know that Hatchet and Mercy were going to get together, or did that develop through the writing of book one and book two?
So that developed through the writing because, I mean, in book one, Mercy existed, but she was the reason that I got Merrick out of town. I needed him out of town. And so I made up that she had a graduation. And then I was like, well, what is she graduating from? Medical school. That makes sense. And so I did not really realize they were going to end up together, I think, until probably halfway-ish through writing book two. I don't know exactly when it happened, but kind of had this thought that I could build her in a little bit more. And so that's why she ended up being more of the story, not just because she's Merrick's sister, but I had wanted to get people to be interested in who she was a little bit more. So that way there was a little bit of a draw. And what's funny is I kept getting DMs as people were finishing book two, where they were like, some people said, who is she? Because in the epilogue, I only say the bride, because in the epilogue, Hatchet gets married, but like, you don't know who she is. And so some people immediately knew. They were like, it's Mercy, isn't it? But I think some people weren't sure. And so that was really fun to see people guessing. So I had some people guessing, like, is it Haven? I was like, Haven is with Serpent and Jaguar. Like, no, it's not Haven. And so that was really funny because I had Haven end up with a weapon that was called a Hellcat. And so people thought that was like, it was alluding to it. And I was like, no, it just happens to be, I Googled it and it's a very small weapon and I wanted something small that she could carry. So that was just kind of like maybe a red herring.
Which is actually would be hilarious if Haven did that and she did end up with Hatchet. Because like what a bridge that would be between series. And I mean, good for her, right? Like she's got
maybe Hatchet could have
for one.
Yeah, in an alternate world, maybe Hatchet joined Serpent and Jaguar, and it was a 3 wide choose. But
we need you to write your own fanfic, like fanfic of your own series. Yeah,
that's my spinoff Omegaverse version.
There you go, perfect, love it. They're all motorcycle club shifters. I'm so here for this. So with med school, I don't think we've talked about this before. But a lot of things happen in this book that feel very, very real, especially with like the American medical system, the American insurance system. Where did like that all come from? Like, did you talk to people like that were going through things like that? Was it just kind of being very aware of what our system is like? Because I thought that just felt like when I was reading it, and I work in insurance, so I was like, oh yeah, this is accurate. Like this is painfully accurate. And I just thought that was really interesting. Can you like give a little bit of color around?
Yeah. So I like to say I have my medical degree from Grace Sloan Memorial because I watched Grey's Anatomy from the time I was 17 to now. Um, and so I enjoy like that type of drama. So that was part of it, was I wanted to have the medical system a part of it. Originally, there was this huge plot, and Steph actually had heard me talk about it. I originally had a totally different plot. Originally, the plot of this book was related to the Mavericks fighting back against ICE and actually like hijacking a bus and all sorts of stuff. But I ended up taking a step back because I think a lot of people want an escape, and that was like too real. And then like right around the time the book was being heavily promoted and going to be coming out, like a lot of stuff was happening. I was really glad I didn't take that route. So there's still a little bit of that in there, like with what Doc is going through, and his wife facing potential deportation. But I was like, okay, well, maybe there's some other systemic issues that I can hit on. And with Mercy being a doctor, it made sense. And originally also I was going to have Mercy quit being a doctor. That was the original plan, was she was going to want instead to like become a paramedic because she wanted to be in on the action. And I had this like whole scene where she like met a paramedic and like got really into it and decided that she was going to quit medical school, and Merrick gets really mad. It was this whole other like parallel plot, that when I was writing, it just wasn't panning out. And so then I started thinking like, well, what is her end game? Like, what does Mercy want? And that's where the like domestic violence survivor theme subplot came in, and how she was helping those women. And that ended up working out really well because of the narcissistic behavior that her ex-fiance was showing. And I think helping her see, like, even though she didn't end up in that situation, she very easily could have ended up in that situation, and it motivated her more to help those women. And so then I started thinking, I was like, well, we can build onto Kenna's epilogue where she opens this women's center. Now we have Mercy building onto the center with, a medical clinic. And so I think it also helps to further like show that the Mavericks are like a really strong part of their community as well. So that's what was interesting about this book, is what I had plotted out originally in so many ways didn't happen, because I would start to write it and I was like, this isn't working, or it just didn't feel right. And so then I ended up trashing a lot of the plot and having to replot it out, which is why I probably will never outline a book again, because I'm just a pantser and I can't make a plan to save my life when it comes to writing books. Everywhere else in my life, I make plans, and I think maybe I just need to not do it as a writer.
Your characters had very different ideas for where they wanted the story to go, and we all loved it. I don't know about anybody else in this call, but anybody that I talk to that has read this series starts out with saying, I don't know how I'm going to feel about Hatchet's book. And then they get Hatchet's book and they're like, this is my favorite book. And it's not that they weren't excited for Hatchet's book, but they're like, well, we're so invested in Reaper. We're so invested in Merrick. And like Hatchet is kind of a playboy for the first, I would say like 1.5. Like he's a playboy for 1.5 of the book.
Yeah.
But then you get this book and he goes through so much personal growth. I mean, obviously both him and Mercy do. But Hatchet does like complete and total turnaround. And by the end of the book, he is a minivan driving suburban dad for all intents and purposes. So what was that like to write his growth from Reaper through to Hatchet's story?
Yeah. So when I first created him, he was just a side character. And then when I realized I wanted to write a series, I had to go in and like really give Merrick and Hatchet personalities. And that was when I knew I was going to do a second book on them both. So I basically like sat down and planned to make them complete opposites. I wanted like darkness and light, like fun and flirty and really stoic. And so I liked Merrick more significant. Like I always knew Kenna was going to end up with Merrick, and I always loved Merrick. I didn't like Hatchet. I didn't like Hatchet when I started writing his book. I was mad at myself for committing to writing his book and I'd already promoted it like at the end of book 3. So I was committed. And so I think the reason why maybe he had such a growth journey was because I was like, I have to make myself like you. And what can I do to make me like you? And there's some fun foreshadowing that I wrote into the book. Because like when I edit, sometimes I'll go back and try to add some little things. And like, I don't know if you guys caught it, but there's a moment when he kind of is like making fun of other guys who drive minivans. And, you know, like basically he's like, most guys, I think he goes like something like, most guys go home to a mortgage and a minivan. And I'm here with hot women and cold beer and the promise of holding both in my hands or something like that. And I did that intentionally because I was like, and then I'm going to give you a minivan. And so I think sometimes also I just write things that I think are funny. And then I'm like, if I think they're funny, at least one other person will find it funny. I feel like I'm a generally pretty funny person. And so, and then I also just like looked for opportunities to torture him, you know, like by giving him poison ivy on his balls because it was
that
funny.
is
yeah. And what's funny is I texted my friend and I was like, is this too far? Like, should I do this? And she was like, you should absolutely do this. I was like, okay, good. I'm just gonna, and then I had to like figure out how do I strategically make him fall in it and make him get it, but not Mercy, because I was not going to do that to a woman.
Yeah. No. Nope. Fun, very fun story. We were talking about your book. I don't know if you talked to Callie Clover about the poison ivy situation, but that happened to someone in her life.
Really?
Poison ivy in the same spot.
After my book or before?
Before your book.
Okay.
Before your book. So this is a very real life threat that men face.
It is.
So this book should be a warning for men.
There's a lot of warnings for men.
Yes, in these books.
Yeah, I think so. Because there are women who will hold you accountable. One of them's named Holly.
I really have to stop reading these books because I really think I'm going to get in a bar fight somewhere at like a motorcycle club hangout. And it's not going to end well for me. Like, let's be very clear. It's not going to end well for me, but I'm going to be real confident about it.
Didn't you take like martial arts for a while?
I did. I have a couple belts.
You're good then.
So I should be okay-ish.
Yeah. I think next book club, you teach a class with us.
I actually used to teach classes, so I could do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to do this in Grand Rapids. We're going to have a Mavericks fight club, book club event.
With mimosas.
At my next signing, you're leading a class.
I love it. I'm here for it. Sorry, my cat just opened the door, so it's what's going on. Which I did ask if we could have a cat in a book. And Rachel said absolutely not. But in my head, Fuse has 2 bonded adopted kittens that he rescues. So
I tried to make her give Thane a cat because I think that would be absolutely hilarious. Or like a chihuahua. Something like so ridiculous because he's such a big burly man. Yeah. I would love that.
I think that is excellent. I'm also really glad you brought up Thane because at the end of this book, like before the epilogue, things are a little tense with Hatchet and Thane. Thane did not want Hatchet to stay. Does that relationship get better? Or are they okay? Does he get demoted?
Yeah, I think they're okay. Because Thane respected the vote. So there was a vote. This isn't on page, but I have it in my Canva board of like who voted where, and who voted for Hatchet to get kicked out. But Fuse was the deciding vote, and Fuse decided that he should be able to stay, though Fuse also was like, I warned you. I told you not to play with fire, and you still did it. But yeah, I mean, I think Thane is just, he's kind of grumpy and he is very set in his ways. And so I think he's just like, he's not happy about it. And he's going to hold a grudge for a little while. But I think he gets okay with it. And even when you get to the epilogue, you know, Thane's kind of complaining, like, what is this, a daycare? Like everybody, all his Maverick men are having kids, you know? And that takes place like what, a year or two later. Yeah, I think it would be 2 years later is what I had. So yeah, so I think they're okay. But I will say changes are coming to the Mavericks. And that's all I can tell you.
Okay, that is going to throw me into like an absolute downward spiral. Because now are we going to have a new president?
I mean, we're at war now. There's a war.
My whole weekend. My whole weekend is
my favorite response from you before you even got to read Hatchet and I sent you the Fuse description. You were like, "What happened? Why are we at war, Rachel? What did you do?"
I remember that. I do remember sending that because I was very concerned. I was very concerned. The next time we have one of these meetings, I'm gonna have like, you know, the crime board with the red yard. Yeah, I'm gonna have one of those mapping out the next 17 books that I have volunteered you to write. Explaining what happens in the change in leadership.
I mean, I'm down for a brainstorming session, you know, always.
Count me in. So you mentioned some of the badass women that are holding all these men accountable in this series. My first question is, how fun was Mercy to write? Like, how fun was that?
Mercy was definitely by far my favorite FMC to write, I think, because she's so impulsive. And I'm not impulsive. And so it was fun to like live vicariously through a girl who like doesn't care about anything. She goes out and has a really good time and then, you know, says really funny things to Hatchet. And I loved like making her so forward about her attraction to him. And I think, you know, for the first time in his life, he had to be the one pulling away, which probably had never happened before to him. I think there was a lot of that type of theme where it was like putting Hatchet in positions where he had to change his behavior. Like he had to step up and take responsibility. He had to pull away from someone he knew he shouldn't be with. He had to step up when, you know, he was expected to step up. And I think that was fun to write because like, it's not what you expect when you read about him in 1 and 2.
Yeah, no, I love that. My second question is the female friendships in this book or in all of the books and how they build and grow and how we add women to this biker coven, if you will. It's Summerween. I'm in full witchy mode. So like this biker coven is what I'm going to call them. Is that like based off of your own female friendships? Is it based off of just like watching women uplift one another? Because I feel like we're kind of going through a movement, if you will, of like women really having each other's backs, kind of uplifting one another, especially in the book space. I think it's very popular in the book space. What was the inspiration for those female friendships?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of, I do have a couple of like really close friends who are probably reflected a little bit in there. One in particular, her name's Emily, and she's basically like exactly like me, except she likes sports. And so I think that there are a couple close friendships like that where like we always have each other's back. We're always ready to fight for each other, that kind of thing. But then also I think it's a little bit of like how female relationships ideally should be, even though they're not always that way. Like there's no reason for them to be competitive with each other. I mean, like I don't even think I would ever write a book like that. I was okay with Merrick and Hatchet kind of competing against each other, but I didn't even make them toxic about it, you know, other than like Hatchet kind of overreacts, but like generally accepting. So yeah, I, you know, it's not necessarily like I don't have a large close-knit group of friends necessarily, other than I feel like I've made a lot through being an author. Like all of you I've met in person. No, only one of you I haven't met in person. I was like, wait a minute, I've only met 3. But you know, all of you I would have never met and become friends with had I not written these books. So that I think that's really cool. And I, you know, I really value the friendships I've made as an author because they're different in some way. I don't even know how to describe it. They're definitely different than some of the other ones that I've had.
I think you do relationships really well. You have like the core, like romantic relationships in your books. You have these really great friendships. And then, especially in book 2 and book 3, now we've got these sibling relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So can you kind of speak to the relationship between Merrick and Mercy and then Hatchet and Jessa?
Yeah. So Merrick and Mercy, I wanted Merrick to have been kind of that always a protector. I mean, he's naturally a protector anyway. And I think he takes that role seriously with both Kenna and with Mercy. But I think with Mercy, her internal backstory that isn't on page is like, she was always too good for that world. Like, and she was always too smart. And so she was always really pushed out of that world that her dad founded and her entire family had been involved in. She was always on the outside. And not in a disrespectful way, but like they wanted her to do better. And you know, I think from that perspective, a lot of women probably see themselves in the like, I've always been told I have to do these things, check these boxes in my life, and then realize that they weren't the right boxes. And I think Mercy goes through that. And I think it takes some time for Merrick to catch up and to figure out that it's okay that she wants to make her own decisions because ultimately it's what she wants. Jessa and Hatchet were really fun to write because when you read book 2, I threw Jessa in. I knew who she was. I knew she was going to be a part of the plot. But I didn't tell you guys, like you just, all of a sudden there's this girl, Jessa, and who is she? And so that was really fun to write. But I think I wanted her to be clearly like really strong, really highly independent, clearly a little traumatized, but like also willing to call people on their BS. And so I wanted that relationship to go through the growing pain of like Hatchet being like, I just have to process that all of a sudden I have a sister. And then him being like, and now I'm going to step up no matter what. Like, there's no question. I'm going to fight for this person who I don't really know that well. And I think, you know, Hatchet is somebody who's always believed that blood doesn't mean family. And so this, again, spins his world on its head, where all of a sudden she's my blood and she's my family. I'm going to fight to protect her. So yeah, so those relationships, they're fun to write. I think all the relationships, I think it's really important in a romance book for the guy and the girl to not be the only relationship. Like, you should have friends outside of the romantic relationship and being able to show that. And also you should have a rescue dog.
Or a cat.
Or a cat. Maybe someday we'll get a cat. I feel like Link's a cat person.
I can deal with that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna yeah. Okay,
If
it's
you do
just
a cat though, you have to find them in a dumpster. I'm just saying. Because that's how you find your cats. Like they choose you.
That's true. That's how my mom got her cat. So.
Yeah.
Okay, did you put Jessa in the epilogue of Damascus?
She's in the epilogue briefly, where basically Kenna is talking to her and Jessa says something along the lines of, your family is really overwhelming. And Kenna's like, they're your family too. So she's very, very briefly in the epilogue.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm like,
You've got Holly searching.
Yeah, like this is again.
Now I'm having a moment where I'm like, she absolutely. I know she's in the epilogue.
But
I don't need to look. I wrote the book. I know that she's in there.
I mean, I believe you. I missed it entirely. Did anybody else catch her in there?
I don't remember.
Oh, Steph.
I did not remember either.
Yeah, because
I've also read Reaper and the Lioness twice in the last like month and a half, 2 months. And since I've read the other ones, so I'm like back in Reaper and Evaland.
I love that.
So
Wait, she is. Page
I didn't know who
232.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steph was the only one that got it. besides Rachel, who
But it
wrote the
helps
book.
that also Steph and I regularly meet to talk about plots.
Mhm.
I need you to know that has just blown everything.
Yeah, I noticed it because you didn't talk about it. And I was like, wait, is this correct?
Like, who is this person? Like,
Yeah.
did you make a mistake? Did you put the wrong name in there? Nope.
Yeah.
Sure didn't. Sure
Yeah.
didn't. You knew what you were doing.
I just slid her in there, and it was intentional. It was like I didn't want to make a big deal, but like she also was going to be a part of the book and part of the plot, so I needed her to be present. That's the hard part about writing these epilogues, because I'm jumping so far forward. In some ways, I'm like limiting myself there, because there's some things I have had ideas to do that I can't do now, because I'm like, well, that person shows up in the epilogue, so like I can't do anything crazy to change their trajectory. And then it's also hard because sometimes I'm like, where are the dogs? Did I include the dogs in every chapter?
Oh, it does. Did you just post about that? And you said like figuring out what room the dog is in and what the dog is doing. Did you just post about that recently?
I did, yeah. Because I had another instance where I was like, I finished writing the Christmas novella just 2 days ago, and 2 people on this call have already read it. Sorry, Holly, I'm waiting. You'll get the later edited version. I don't know. Jamie hasn't read it yet.
I haven't read it yet.
I've read it twice. I'm obsessed. I have a problem.
Yeah. So, but there's a scene the morning after their surprise wedding, and I was like, wait a minute, where's Hawk? And then I go back into the previous chapter, and I had Kenna volunteer to take him for the night. So I was like, I don't need the dog there for the honeymoon morning. That's awkward. Go away.
I almost put that in my email for like my notes. I'm like, wait, where's like Hawk when they're doing all of these things after the wedding? And I'm like, I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, Kenna has him. It's fine.
Kenna's got him. Kenna's on top of it.
That's the benefit of all of them having a dog. Like I'm constantly pawning the dogs off on other people when it's inconvenient for the dog to be in the scene.
Yeah.
It works.
Perfect. That's what people do. Like if you have to go do something, people will watch your dog.
You have to go kill somebody. I mean, have sex in the other room. I mean, you just got to figure it out.
Steve, I'm gonna watch the dog real quick.
There's a fun error in the earliest version that Jamie caught where she was like, hey, how did Chaos chew off the button on Hatchet's pants when he wore the pants upstairs? And Chaos chewed them off downstairs. And I was like, maybe Chaos stole the pants, but I'm going to fix that for future readers. But anybody who got that version, my story is Chaos stole the pants, dragged them down, and they were just too caught up in their own world to notice that Chaos stole the pants.
Our dog actually does do that. Like we will wake up in the morning with random articles of clothing on his dog bed. He doesn't do anything to them. I think he just
sleeps with them.
Snuggle. I don't know. This is probably the most serious question I'm going to ask you about this book. Who would win in a fight between Merrick and Hatchet?
I think hands down Merrick would win. I think Merrick is stronger. I think he's more ruthless. I think Hatchet would feel bad punching his best friend. You know, I think Merrick has the ability to turn it off in his brain. And so Hatchet would score higher in empathy, I think, than Merrick. I think Merrick is only empathetic toward Kenna. Like she's the only one that he really actually is going to like care in that regard. Everybody else, he's probably just like, I don't care if I hurt your feelings. So yeah, I think Merrick could win.
I felt that way too. But I just wanted to check from the source and make sure. Because we have the source here. So I know there's a rescue dog in every book. But we now have kitchen fuckery in every book. Is that also going to be a mainstay in future books?
Yeah, it is. Kirsten told me I have to.
Has to be. I found a new trope that I love that I didn't know was a thing until you made it a thing. So it has to be.
Kitchen fuckery?
Yes.
I love this as a trope.
Yeah.
You know how like all the book girls do those cutesy like edits or like little Kindle inserts that have tropes on them? We need like the biker kitchen fuckery version.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. It is now a thing. There's already a kitchen fuckery scene in the novella. And then I've already decided that Fuse is going to also cook for Jet. Like Fuse will be cooking for Jet and Coast will be cooking for the FMC. I'm not naming her yet because I could potentially change her name.
Is she new or do we?
She's going to be new as well. So Jet is completely new. I know her tied to the club, but you guys don't. Evil.
Evil.
And then the girl for Coast, she's not going to be mentioned. Like she's only kind of like I'm aware of her because of Coast's daughter, Savannah, who we've mentioned. I've mentioned in the books when I've written them. And so, you know, the plan for her is she is going to be Savannah's best friend from college, probably a grad student, because I do not want to write a really young FMC with Coast. That just feels like I want it to not be creepy and gross, but I still want it to be forbidden. So I'm really excited about that. And then I recently have had some really interesting ideas in my head about Dixon and Dixon's story. I have some potential ideas about Link, some potential ideas about Archer. But none of them have like stood up enough to say that they're next. So if nobody stands up, then
Link, come on now.
Well, but here's the thing. If nobody stands up, then I think it's the Red Rock Riot next. Because I think we do need Serpent, Jaguar, and Hayden's story, and that happens at least prior to book 2, because they make an appearance there. So I don't know the timeline. I'll have to like figure out the timeline and put it into my fancy Canva timeline that I have that outlines all of the events that occur. Because that's really important. I mean, I also have this planner here that outlines everything too, including Eva's entire pregnancy. So that way I can answer, how many weeks along is she? Would we be able to know the gender yet? When will we know the gender? Like those are questions I had to answer to write the book. So in the novella, you don't know because it's not enough weeks. I've discovered per my Googling. So yeah.
And this is the first novella of 3 because Merrick and Kenna are getting a Halloween one, and then Hatchet and Mercy are getting an Arbor Day one. We've already decided. It's fine. It's fine.
Arbor Day, just love.
Yeah.
Poison Ivy again somewhere else. I don't know. Maybe in his eyeball. Please don't do that. That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah. So my plan is that this is kind of a separate standalone series, the holidays with the Lone Star Mavericks Motorcycle Club. That way, if I want to do a Valentine's Day special, so I'm thinking definitely the ambush wedding is this upcoming Christmas. This will be the first one, but then maybe Halloween will be next. And then we'll continue depending on whatever holiday I also feel like writing. It's very weird to write about a holiday months and months ahead. So I'm also thinking like maybe I can write the Halloween one this October and just have it ready to go, or at least plot it out so I know what happens. Because at this point, I do have some ideas. Do you want to know my ideas? So like Henna is super into true crime, right? What if she finds a body and she's convinced that she can solve the crime?
Yes.
And the guys are like, stop trying to solve crime. Like, so that is the only plot that I've developed so far for her Halloween novella. And it's just because she likes true crime podcasts. So why not have her solve a crime potentially?
I'm in.
Yeah.
I like
And then you could have like cop involvement. I mean, a little tiny bit. Obviously, we don't want a bunch of cop involvement, but be fun.
Detective Rodriguez can make an appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could do a crossover with Kelsey Woods.
Ooh,
oh
yeah. A Canadian man gets
A Mountie.
murdered. Yeah.
That would be fun.
Get a Mountie in there.
I'll have to consult with Kelsey.
Yes. I know that's a lot of.
I have been
organization.
considering, like, you know, I have definitely considered, like, how do I get Jack and Triss to come to Texas?
Because Triss and Ava have to, like, they have
I
to
think
go
they would
out.
be friends. And I think Kenna would be a good, like, friend with them.
Ooh, for Halloween, they all go out and they accidentally kill someone.
That
He
could be,
deserved it. He deserved it. It's obviously a man, and he deserved it.
Obviously a man.
Obviously.
it's so funny you say that
Thelma
because,
and Louise if that happens.
so Holly, you say that, and there's actually a hilarious, I think it's hilarious, text message thread between the old ladies, and here, I'll just read like a piece of it. So, because like you basically just alluded to like what is actually written in my book.
Yes.
So
I had no idea.
Mercy says, if you need help murdering someone, respond with a knife emoji. If you've already murdered someone and you need help hiding the body, respond with a spoon emoji. And Eva says, a spoon? That seems like a lot of physical labor. There has to be a better way. Mercy says, oh, there is. How big is the body? I'm assuming it's a man. And Kenna says, of course it's a man. Who else would deserve Eva's wrath?
I love this.
So that is, you guessed correct. You win the prize. You know, like you already own all the Mavericks stuff so far, so I can't really send you anything. You know, like you already have all the stickers. I don't know if you have my new ones though yet.
I do have that one.
You do have this one?
I do. What you could do is you could start a fictional old ladies group chat, message thread, create a bunch of different phone numbers, and then respond back to yourself and just add me to the chat and let me watch the fictional. It feels like so much work.
That would be a lot of work. I feel like there's a way I can do this in Canva and not have to create multiple phone numbers.
But
Fair.
the phone numbers would be fun though. And then you could add me, and then I could just be there, and then I could interact and be best friends with Ava, which is what I said would happen tonight. Or Mercy.
I mean,
I actually think that Mercy and I would probably.
Yeah, but like if Rev ever gets a story, do I have to name the FMC Holly?
I mean, you
Just
could. You could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be upset about it.
Rev, so just so you guys know, Rev was put in as a surprise because she told me that's what her husband's road name would be. So I just threw it in there. I like to throw in funny things. I also put in a funny thing that Steph had sent to me fairly recently where it was like, but kind of like a debate between macaroni salad and pasta salad or something like that. And she caught it, which I thought was fun. Like 50% of my books is just me like writing stuff for my friends.
I think I actually have a tab where you introduced Rev. And
Right.
I was like, wait, excuse me, what?
Well, I put a Post-it in there and I was like, just wait till you meet this new guy, basically.
Yeah, I was very, very excited. I was very, very excited about that. It made my day. Okay, so we have about 15 minutes left. Does anybody else have any questions? Things we want to talk about? Free for all.
I have one. So you mentioned like you plotted it out and then the characters were like, no, like this is going on. What was the most surprising thing for you once you like got in there and started writing that you're like, I didn't see this coming?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's the epilogue where like I decided to make them adopt foster kids because it's so funny because I write, you know, different types of families in each book. And I don't want kids myself, but yeah, like I give my characters kids, but it's always because I'm like, I think it would make sense for them. Like, I think that like of all the characters, Mercy and Hatchet would want to foster and so and adopt. And so that was something that I never had planned. It just when I was writing the epilogue, I was like, actually I really struggled with writing their epilogue at first. I was like, what happens? Like what more is there for these guys? And I think it was through the process of like rereading and editing where I saw him So I must have actually, I think I wrote it first, the whole like minivan, like mortgage and a minivan thing. And I was like, you know what would be funny is if I gave him a mortgage and a minivan. And then the other thing that I thought was like, I personally thought was funny was like having Reaper build a bar for the kids so that way they can mix drinks, because I was like, this seems really on brand. And what's funny about that is that's something that I had proposed to one of my friends. I was like, what you should really get for your son is a mini bar. And because she was like talking about piano lessons. And I was like, which one makes him more employable in college? Skills or piano skills? I'm just saying your kid knowing how to mix drinks would actually make him more employable in the future. And she was like, I can't argue with this logic. And so then I decided, I was like, I need to put this in because I think it's funny and I think other people will find it funny. So yeah, I think that was surprising. I knew that there's a lot of things that I knew that would happen. Like I knew that I had originally been torn between, do I do knife play or primal play? And I decided to do primal play. And so like I knew that was going to happen, and I wrote that scene before I wrote their first kiss, which was fun because I'm like, I don't know how we get here, but we're gonna get here eventually. And they did. They figured out how to get there. And I managed to put a little bit of knife play into the novella.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
I'm almost there. I'm almost to getting to
Just so
reading.
you know, Holly, the novella is 10 chapters. There's 4 spicy chapters.
And we're not mad about it.
That's the balance that I need in life.
And then there's going to be recipes at the end
For
food.
Oh, okay.
What did you
No,
think there
for
were recipes
positions.
for?
But also, we kind of should have that. We should have a sex book too, just a
Some
position
instru-
sex book.
Well, we'll have the Mavericks position book. That will be a future release. But I'm going to need to get some illustrators.
Yeah.
We haven't had anybody have sex on a bike yet, have we?
No, and what's funny is every time I write a book, I think I need to make this happen, and it just never. Like I've tried to figure out how to make it happen in Hatchet's book, and it never worked out. So I think it's going to happen maybe in Jet's book because
I was just gonna say, I think Jet is our man. He's our man.
Yeah, I think Jet and Fuse. I think it would make sense for Fuse. Fuse seems like the type of guy who would do that.
How tall is Fuse?
Let me pull up
Spreadsheet. I know she's got it in a spreadsheet.
I can tell you.
It's a character matrix, basically.
It is.
I was like, she's going for it.
He's ridiculously tall.
Like, I know that Jet's tall too because he's so tall. You had made her also tall.
Yeah, I made Jet tall, which it's going to be really hard for me to write a tall FMC because I'm not, and I don't know what that's like. So Fuse is 6'7".
Yes, he is.
And Jet is 5'9". So she's tall. I mean, taller than me. I might make her taller, but like I wanted her to be fairly tall. I don't know. I think 5'9" is tall, but maybe 5'9" isn't tall. Is 5'9" tall for a woman?
Yeah,
I think 5'9" tall.
Okay.
I'm 5'7", and I feel like I'm like average-ish, but I can give you the tall person perspective of how you look from my point of view. Okay, I'll just be like, so I can see the top of your head.
Everyone can see the top of my head.
You're just a little midget.
I know.
I think Jet and Fuse could make that happen, and it would be really, really fun for all of us.
Yes.
And then the character art that you could get out of that. Have you commissioned spicy character art?
Not spicy character art. I do have an artist starting a Reaper and Eva illustration, but it's going to be them on the bikes for, she's starting it actually like August 4th. I have to have everything.
So excited.
So, like very soon, which is why I recently asked the street team, what celebrities do you think they would be like? Because I was like, I don't know. And so like, I think that Reaper looks like Tom Hardy, but like, I wanted to hear other opinions.
I see that too. Yeah.
So yeah, so Holly, your homework is to text me who you think Reaper looks like and who you think Eva looks like. There's an entire thread.
So bad at this stuff. Like when people are like, do your fan cast, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I live in books. Like I don't know who's acting anymore.
I had to
can't do
spend
it.
a lot of time on Pinterest. I have an entire Pinterest board though of the characters.
I, for some reason, can also picture the female descriptors in my head way better than like the male ones. And I don't know if it's because I'm a female, but when I'm reading, I'm like, I can picture like the woman's faces that she's making, but like the man's is a little bit harder.
Because you feel that, like, as a woman, you're like, oh, I made
Yeah.
that face.
Yeah,
I've made
exactly.
that face. And I know
I think
that part of
faces-
my soul that's coming from.
I do it while writing. I'll make the faces. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You should
I also
record yourself
sometimes-
writing.
Yeah. I also have had to, you know, the scene where like Merrick and Kenna are passing back and forth the bottle of Jack.
Oh, yeah.
While editing, I had to manually pass myself a drink to make sure I wasn't accidentally like having her pass the drink to herself twice. That's the kind of stuff you have to manually do to like check, does this work?
Typing with one hand, Jack in the other, and then you pass it over. Like that left hand, you've got written like Kenna on it.
Pretty much. That's pretty much how that goes.
Perfect. Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Can I ask you about Fuse and Jet a little bit? Do you know what the foster dog's gonna be yet?
I don't, because I am considering doing a contest / fundraiser for dog rescue and allowing people to submit their dogs to be the next Mavericks dog.
That would be fun.
Veto power, of course, because and so basically the way I have it set up is you'll make a donation to the dog rescue of your choice. And then when you submit your entry, you will upload your receipts. So that way I know that you made a donation to a rescue. I recommend my rescue, but like people can choose their own rescue. And I did that because I have readers in like Australia now. So like, which is really cool. So yeah, I just was like, oh, this could be fun to do. And then I actually, this is written, but not like promoted yet. But I'm thinking the street team gets to help vote as well.
Yeah.
I get-
My dogs right now.
I'm the president. I get the veto power, but like you guys would get to help choose who the next Mavericks dog would be. And also I included a little place where people could put like their dog's personal story. So that way if the dog has a really cute, sweet rescue story, I could steal it for the book.
You're getting a bunch of dog pictures from me right now.
I'm getting what?
A bunch of dog pictures from me of my dogs.
That's great.
The
Awesome.
dog cats. The dog cats. But no cats. Got it.
I mean, I could maybe.
I think we're gonna talk her into it eventually. We're gonna wear her
Okay.
down.
So actually, here's the case for cats. I don't have to think about constantly who's taking care of the cat.
The cats take care of themselves. They're self-sufficient.
You
You
So
have
maybe
to give them a food feeder, and they're
Yeah.
set.
Maybe
Somebody has to clean the litter box.
Well, there's litter
Cat robots.
robots.
that happens off page though. I think like
Yeah.
a cat you can very easily like. I could have a very like cat that doesn't want anything to do with you. Like maybe that's what Fuse has.
Yeah.
He ends up with a cat that like wants nothing to do with him, and it only likes Jet. But maybe Jet doesn't like cats. Maybe that's a whole thing. I don't know. Or maybe it's a different type of animal. Maybe it's a tortoise. Maybe it's
Correct.
maybe there's a different. I don't know.
I
Like-
think there's also a joke waiting to be made about black cat boyfriend or girlfriend. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And Jet, I think, is very much a black cat. Like she, I actually wrote in the Christmas novella that basically, like, she also hates Christmas, and she's just like, she's at their little Christmas event, and she's just like, I will handle the clipboard, and that is my job. I am not dealing with these children.
I think that's
I feel like Jet and Ken are gonna be like real good friends.
Yeah, and I've already started to develop their friendship in the novella, and so I'm excited to like introduce Jet to the MC world through the women that befriend her. I'm pretty sure they're going to have to force her to be friends with them. Like I think that Eva and Kenna are going to be like, "You're going out with us," and she's going to be like, "I don't want to," and they're going to be like, "That's too bad. We're friends now because you're with Fuse, and you have to like us."
They could snap her.
Yeah.
That
Although
would
I
be
do
fun.
feel like Jet would snap somebody. I get.
Well, so, and also I want her to be trained into like some sort of martial art type of thing too, I think. Because we have Fuse who's going to be teaching classes at Hatchet and Merrick's gym. I don't know if you caught that. that's intentional because I'm going to make them
That's
run
what
into each
I'm
other there. I don't know if it's going to be their first meeting. I actually think it's not going to be their first meeting, and she's going to be pissed. Like, what do you mean you're the asshole teaching my class? I haven't, like, I don't know if everything's going to play out the way that it's happening in my head, because once I start writing it, they will decide what they want to do. But I do think that there's going to be situations where she keeps running into him and she's pissed about it.
So if you decide to write a book about Rev and you need his love interest, she could be the boxing instructor that Jet normally takes classes from, and then she's out, and then Fuse, and that could be that.
There we go. And then I could introduce Holly, the boxing instructor, in this book. So that way in book 6, Rev and Holly's story is not.
I did used to teach boxing.
But I do think,
so if you have questions.
I'm super curious how it's going to be if I'm writing you into my book, like as my friend, you know?
Just make me insane and then off the walls.
Well, I'm just thinking about the spicy scenes. Like, that's going to feel weird.
That's fair. That's fair. You could give me a different name.
That's true. Maybe I'll let you pick your own name.
My own one.
Yeah. So you'll have to start, you have time because I have other books I need to write first.
I'm
Maybe think about what you want your name to be. I am planning on writing, I think, I want Jet to have 2 really close friends who live across the country, because one of my best friends lives in Oregon. And so I kind of want to like insert that dynamic of like having the friend that you're always texting with. And I have some like really funny, snarky stuff that's honestly based off of the kind of stuff that she and I text to each other anyway, that I'm planning to write. Like, we're going to give, you know how like every girl who's dating gives the guy a nickname, and you never call him by his name. So we're going to call Fuse BDB, and you can guess what BDB stands for.
Big dick biker.
Yeah. So
I
she
suck at, like, what is it? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? But if you give me something like that, on it.
Yeah. So I can see like that's the type of thing that like my friend will text me because she's dating, and I'm like, that sounds awful. And so I'm like, okay, I think we're gonna have this friendship dynamic, long distance friendship dynamic, and then maybe eventually she moves to Texas as well. So yeah.
What is your timeline or anticipated timeline for you for the next books to be out?
So it depends heavily on work, I think, honestly. Because Hatchet was really fast for me to write because I already knew Hatchet. I think that Fuse is going to take me a lot longer to write. I mean, Hatchet I wrote in what? Like, so from start, I started writing it in January and I had it out by June.
Crazy.
I would love to have Fuse's book out by the end of the year, but I also know realistically I have a client project that is intense through November. And so it may not come out till next year. Like, I'm definitely going to like hack away at it. But when I think about like how long it's going to take to write and then getting it through editing, I actually don't set a release date until I've written most of the book. Like, if I have a couple chapters to go, I'll work to set a release date, but I actually don't like to set the release date until I've actually booked with my editor. And then I'm like, well, I know I get it back on this day, and it takes me roughly 2 months from the time that I get it back from the editor to get through all of their edits, to get the final version proofread, and to get it out the door, get the cover designed, because you can't finalize the cover until the page count is final. And so that like, there's kind of like this trickle delay of like getting the book out the door. So I would suspect, like, unless for some reason I am just hit with incredible inspiration and I know exactly what happens in this book, and I don't face like, there's this messy middle where you hit that you're like, this is awful and none of this writing is good and I don't know what the story is going to be. And like, once you get over that, it comes pretty quick, I feel like. But like, I haven't even started it, so I know I haven't gotten to the hump yet. So yeah. So optimistically, end of year. Realistically, early 2027. Yeah.
Which is nice. We're already halfway done with this.
Yeah.
So
Or also, I'll just say, if I get my Netflix series and I quit my full-time job, and then I have time to write full-time, I can escalate the timeline. So if you all want to get me that Netflix series and those advanced dollars, I would be more than happy to quit work. Actually, I would probably still work, honestly, but you know, I would just work less. Yeah.
Fair.
I love that you're like, everybody wants to know when, like, everybody's excited about views, which I think is funny. And I've known he got a book since he walked on page. Like, I was like, oh yeah, this guy needs a book.
I think I told you when I read book, I was like, so when does Fuse get a book? I'm like, I got a book. I'm like, yeah, but when I need it now.
Yeah.
It's just like the way you wrote him is just very like, just something about him.
Yeah. I mean, there's something about a prison biker who has an incredible backstory that he went from corporate to biker. You know, like he's a man with a corporate background, which is kind of crazy.
He's amazing. We love him.
Yeah.
Know,
in my head, he's very, like, I'm not a huge fan of the 50 Shades franchise, but like the vibe of like a rich Christian Grey type of thing without the BDSM aspect. I mean, definitely dominant.
Is he a secret billionaire? Is he a secret billionaire?
Oh yeah, Fuse has money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Fuse is retired. He doesn't have
Daddy Fuse. What's up? I'm so ready for this. Like I'm ready. My body is ready.
Yeah.
For Fuse.
And then you get Coast, the cowboy biker.
Love it.
So yeah, you have a lot to look forward to.
Rachel is mother and she's feeding all of us.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
All right, we are at time.
Well, thank you so much, and I'll stop recording. That way, if you have any off-the-record questions, you can ask them.
I need you to know that I was not drinking.